Leader would say, let's get this show on the road. And President Rintz is ill and unable to attend, so we'll muddle through this all together. First off, of course, let's mute all our cell phones and other electronic devices so that we can have this meeting in some quietude. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, which I'll lead. Thank you. Let me just say this is the Winnetka Village Council regular meeting, September 19th, 2023. We've done the first couple of things here. And I'd ask Manager Rob Bahan to take attendance.
Certainly. Thank you. Trustee Dahlman.
Here.
Trustee Albinson.
Here.
Trustee Dearborn.
Here.
Trustee Handler.
Here.
Trustee Orsic.
Here.
Trustee Apatow.
Here.
And then we have quorum check for the month of October. The meetings are the 3rd, the 10th, and the 17th. Are there any conflicts?
Nope.
No, all good?
As long as my flights are on time from overseas, I'll be back.
For the 3rd?
Sure.
Okay.
Should be otherwise fine.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. We've reached the point, item 4, public comment. I would ask if there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak about an item that is not on tonight's agenda. So this would be your time to come to the podium. Please. And please state your name, and this is a 3-minute public comment. Thank you.
Good evening. I wasn't aware that there was a time limit placed, so for that I'll try and practice brevity. My name is Monica Koziol, K-O-Z-I-O-L. First name Monica, M-O-N-I-C-A. All right, so here we are. The reason for why I have come here is because I'd like to pose a question. It is, how do you hold a village accountable for failing to provide safety and professional service to its, to those whom it welcomes? Secondly, how would the village feel if it lost its life savings because its members were negligent? In short, I will say my home was burglarized. I lost my life savings. The village was not there for me.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience that would like to comment on any items not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to reports. We'll start with trustees. I'll start at the end. Tina?
No report.
Sure.
No report.
Rob?
No report tonight.
Bridget?
No report.
Kim?
First I'd like to thank the village staff for all the work you did to help prepare for our last study session. I know that took a lot of time and a lot of focus to bring a good packet together for us and for the community. Along that line, there was a lot of information there, and I know we spent a good 3 hours talking about it and talked about a lot of the different aspects that are involved with this issue. We left it, I think, with a lot of the trustees having certain directional points that we hope the village staff will, or we'd like the village staff to pick up and work on for our next session as we continue this. I'm not sure if from a public perspective we tied those all up with a nice little bow. So I'm hoping maybe, Rob, you can sort of explain to us where the village staff is now so we're all on the same page.
Sure. So based upon the council's deliberation from last week, staff has identified a number of areas to follow up on, and we're targeting the November 14th study session to be ready, because it's going to take some time to do some analysis and get this ready to go. We're also in the height of budget season and some other projects that we're trying to wrap up for the year. So I'm going to kind of put these in two buckets. One bucket is zoning. Second bucket is more steep slope and other types of regulation. So with respect to zoning, we heard clearly to review and establish a new front lot line standard along the lake that can be consistently applied over time. Is straightforward. to understand and can be effectively administered. Staff will be evaluating the options, particularly the ordinary high water mark, to fully understand what those impacts would be. Related to this, we'll also be looking at setback requirements and the related zoning considerations with respect to what does zoning look like from the lake back landward. We'll also be looking at reviewing zoning and subdivision codes to address the size of newly created consolidated lots to ensure that the character of a residential neighborhood is not adversely impacted. And this gets to the scale of development in residential districts, so that these are kind of the zoning buckets that we've, at least looking at the notes and getting some feedback from council. With respect to steep slope, we're going to carefully review the impact of new development on or within the bluff by evaluating the steep slope ordinances that can be reasonably applied to Winnetka, looking at limiting bluff removal, factors of safety, protecting adjacent property owners, and the impact on the environment. We're also going to look at the Glencoe ordinance that could allow some structures such as stairs, decks, boathouses with reasonable scale to be permitted near or on the steep slope, but that comes with geotechnical, structural engineering, and coastal engineering process of review. Also related, we're going to make sure that permit requirements going forward, regardless of what policies get enacted, make sure that our engineering guidelines and our own process include geotechnical, structural, coastal engineering reviews for all lakefront work, construction work. And then the final piece that we identified was develop bluff vegetation ordinances that promote best practices, looking at native vegetation for bluff stability, and looking to remove invasives that we know are up basically everywhere, but particularly on the bluff. So those were the items that we identified from our notes. Staff has not had an opportunity to reassemble as a team, but we do plan next week, especially when Attorney Friedman gets back from vacation. So that's what I had.
Okay. Kim, anything else on your report? Kim? Nope, that's it. And I do not have a report as trustee, so we'll move on to any report from village attorney. Back to village manager.
I have nothing further.
Okay, good. Thank you. Move on to item 6, establishment of the consent agenda. Does any trustee wish to remove any items on the consent agenda for a separate vote? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the final form of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Voice vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that moves on. So we move to the approval of the consent agenda. We'll ask the village clerk to read the consent agenda.
Thank you. Approval of the village council minutes for the September 5th, 2023 regular meeting. Approval of the warrant list dated August 16th, 2023 through August 30th, 2023 in the amount of $877,644.47. Resolution number R88, 2023, approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services concerning reimbursement for emergency medical services. And resolution number R89, 2023, approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Wilmette for the training on the use of a water vessel.
Thank you, Rob. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda by omnibus vote?
So moved. Second?
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Trustee Albinson?
Yes.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Orsic?
Yes.
Trustee Handler?
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much for that. On to item 8, ordinances and resolutions. First item is resolution number R87, 2023, waiving competitive bidding and approving a contract with the Progress Group, Inc., for evaluation services relating to turbine number 4. This is up for adoption. Village staff is requesting approval to proceed with an internal inspection of turbine number 4 to develop a repair plan. Water and Electric Director Brian Keys is here to review. Brian.
Thank you, Trustee Dearborn. So as mentioned in the introductory remarks, turbine number 4 is currently out of service while it was being operated during startup for a dispatch event this summer. The unit exhibited significant abnormal vibration, so it was taken out of service. The unit's a 1953 unit manufactured by Westinghouse. It's got a rated output of 8,700 kilowatts. In order to determine what's wrong with it, we need to open and inspect it. Prior to it being shut down, we were able to take some vibrational readings, and we believe potentially a bearing on the internal outboard end of the steam turbine has failed. And then with that, an unknown amount of damage may have occurred. To determine the repair path, we need to literally open it up and look inside of it, which is not an easy task to do. We asked 2 companies to come and take a look at it and provide us proposals to do what we call an open and inspect. And it's the same 2 companies that I presented last week that provided proposals for the number 6 oil seal leak. The Progress Group came out, looked at it, and said they could do an open and inspect for $168,402. And I should be clear that this is only to open and inspect. It's not to do any non-destructive evaluation testing, which is usually where you'd send components off-site, media blast them, and look for, testing to look for, like eddy current testing, look for cracks. And does not include the reassembly or any repairs. This is just to get the lid off, take measurements, and provide a cost estimate from what we can see with the lid off the unit. The second company, the Power Services Group, did not submit a quote. We've used, as I mentioned, the Progress Group is actually literally on site right now performing the number 6 oil seal leak. They've done bigger projects as actually a turbine overhaul. We're hoping, since they're already mobilized and on site, that as they finish number 6, and with your consideration of this contract award, that they would roll right into developing, opening this up and developing a repair estimate from what they can see. I'm taking an incremental approach to this one because of the abnormal condition that developed. So rather than moving to immediately sending stuff off-site and asking for funding for that, we're looking forward, let's just open and inspect and see what we have. This unit was scheduled for an overhaul this fall. That's in the budget. So coincidentally, now it's going to be a repair and potentially an overhaul. So again, the funding request is literally just to open and inspect, and I'm planning on coming back to you with a repair plan, which would potentially include moving forward with NDE and then what we can see from the internal repairs that are needed. This would also be bundled with, instead of bringing you just back the repair cost for the turbine, in 2025 we have a budgeted $1.4 million for boiler number 4. These are basically aligned with their output. So the steam output from boiler number 4 matches turbine number 4. So what I don't want to have happen, and you can use a car analogy, I don't want to bring you the transmission repair and then come in later in the year or next year and say, by the way, you need a new engine. So we're going to bring you the cost of the engine and the transmission, so the turbine and the boiler, so you can make a comprehensive review and decision on the 2 pieces together, because it could impact our decision on which direction you want to move forward. So we envision bringing that to you in the November timeframe. So it would be a comprehensive discussion on both the cost to move forward with turbine number 4 and what we think a cost for number 4 boiler is. Under the procurement authority of the village manager, we have a contractor working on preparing a cost estimate for the boiler repairs. And I would say I'm kind of concerned that the 1.4 doesn't reflect current market pricing for materials and services in light of what we've seen in other areas of utility products. Until such time that we repair number 4, we don't get the capacity credits from IMEA, which is basically $34,800 a month, or totals $417,600. And as I mentioned, from a funding perspective, at this point in time, we had funding in the approved budget in the amount of $764,000. So asking your approval to proceed with an open and inspect, knowing that I'll have at least 1 or maybe 2 or 3 return trips to see you. Can I take any questions?
Okay. We'll move it up here for any questions for Brian.
I may need to take a trip down there if you don't mind. There's
Yeah,
so many things that are vibrating and rumbling, and I'm just trying to get a better understanding of boiler by boiler, what's really going on. Is there any, I know you're looking at just opening, but it's going to cost to close it again, or are you just going to leave it open?
No, there's going to be a cost to close it, but the question will be is, 1 is who will do it and will we stay with the Progress Group? 2, what's the cost to repair it? So there's,
Yeah, I get that.
I'm leaving all options available until we have a chance to see what's inside it. Meaning, let's open it up and see what it's going to cost. It's currently not operational in its current state.
But if you're a betting man,
This one I'm not going to put a bet on.
Oh, Brian, if in an overhaul, would an overhaul have covered parts that are broken and not working? Or is the fact that we would head into this with now a unit that's not operational meaning that original overhaul budget wouldn't necessarily cover all that would be needed.
So we don't know what parts need to be replaced. I'm hopeful or optimistic that the budget that I have for the overhaul will encompass the repairs plus completing the overhaul. But until we have an opportunity to get into it and get a better idea of that cost, there's some indication from talking to other people that there could be additional material damage on the internals. Until we open it up and look at it and have a better, I'm not willing to
Okay.
opine
Not a
further.
betting man. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I have a question. So since this shut down, we are losing money?
Yeah, so the way, that's probably the correct way to say it. So what happens is when the unit's operational, every month, all the units are operational, each one earns capacity credits, which is a discount on our wholesale power bill. So for each month it's out of service, we do not qualify for the $34,800 that's associated with the capacity credits. And the reason for that is this unit cannot be dispatched by IMEA to get any benefit from them because it's currently out of service. So until such time that we return it to service, it's not eligible to earn any what's called capacity credits from the agency.
And how much to date have we lost? And then if
So-
you look into the future, whatever could be wrong, but let's just take worst case scenario, how long until this is back online and what's the potential impact financially?
So the potential impact, if it goes, let's just use 1 year. If it goes 1 year in repairs, it's $417,000. We need to have it back in service by mid-July to keep it contractually on the books with IMEA.
Got it.
A typical overhaul could be comfortably performed between now and next summer, depending on what they would find. If there's additional damage, then that may change the path.
Got it. So time is of the essence.
Time is of the essence for two reasons. One, we want to get it repaired. There's long lead times. And then 3 is we're losing $34,800 every month it's not in service.
Got it. Thanks, Brian.
Tina? Brian, along the questions of the two trustees that have asked before, but as this relates to what you had budgeted, so you had budgeted inspection and overhaul. What, round numbers, what amount of the $764,000 would have been the inspection?
Well, typically, we'd probably, for an NDE and inspection, you're probably looking at close to $280,000.
Okay.
And then the balance of that would have been for any repairs, reverse engineering, seals, bearings, any other things that were identified, and then reassembly of the unit.
That would have been the overhaul.
That would have been the overhaul.
Okay. So
Prior to this event happening, I was pretty comfortable that 764 was going to be plenty optimistic in getting us over the goal line on an overhaul. I'm taking a middle ground
Yeah.
until we open the cover.
But we had budget, some of the inspection that's going to occur from this
Is
would
the
have
budget.
occurred.
Right, so I
Would have
guess
occurred,
the way I would look at it is, what I have to do for this to find the problem is overlaps what the overhaul would be.
Right.
The point why I'm saying an incremental approach is two things that have come together that now change the big picture. One is we might have internal damage, so there's going to be a different cost estimate to repair. And two is boiler number 4 is on the capital plan for 2025 at $1.4 million. I want to bring those back as a larger discussion, those two items. I don't want to do, using my analogy, I don't want to bring you a car and an engine and a transmission repair. So I get approval to do the transmission and not tell you that, by the way, we have concern about the engine.
Right. But we are treating this as a budgeted item.
This is currently being treated, and I talked with Tim, we're treating this as a budgeted item, and it'll be drawn for the capital account, the 764.
Okay. And what was your assumption, to Trustee Albinson's question, what would have been the assumption for the overhaul, having that turbine out of use
So-
with a normal overhaul?
The difference when it's scheduled is we would have had a scheduled outage. We wouldn't be losing capacity credits. So there's,
I
under
see.
the contract terms, with 45 days notice, we would take it out of service and we can leave it out. If it's non-summer peak generating, which September 18th on is, pre-scheduled, we don't lose capacity credits. The difference is this failed in the middle of summer generating season, so we're in a penalty mode until such time we prove it runs, and then we come out of the penalty. Financially, it makes no sense to try to fix it, put it back together, run it, get out of the penalty, then pay someone to take it all apart again to do the overhaul.
But we're gonna be doing some of the overhaul work that would have been contemplated anyway. So is there any way with
There's
IMEA?
no waiver under the scenario under which this unit
Okay,
went out of service.
got it.
So it's a forced outage. They've called on us to run multiple times since it's been out of service, and this unit was not available for them to use. There's no
Yep.
latitude in that respect.
Got it. Okay. Why don't we ask if there's any public comment from the audience on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back up here and ask for any final comments or any discussion.
Nope.
All set? Okay. May I have a motion to adopt resolution number R87, 2023?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And this is a roll call vote?
Trustee Albinson?
Yes.
Trustee Handler?
Yes.
Trustee Orsick?
Yes.
Trustee Apitoff?
Yes.
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Good luck with this. Yep, sounds that way. We'll go on to item 8B, resolution number R90, 2023, which is approving an agreement with Tesca Associates, Inc. for professional services to prepare a concept streetscape design plan for the Hubbard Woods Business District Streetscape. And this is up for adoption. The council will consider authorizing spending for professional services in partnership with the Village of Glencoe for preparation related to the streetscape concept plan for the Hubbard Woods Business District. Now, one second, David. Community Development Director David Schoen is here to review. David.
Good evening. So just to add on to what Trustee Dearborn stated, the development and implementation of the streetscape improvements for the Hubbard Wood Business District is consistent with the goals and initiatives identified in the recently adopted comprehensive plan as well as the adopted downtown master plan. In development of the streetscape design plan, we plan to use elements and concepts from the downtown master streetscape and signage plan that was adopted and used to guide our implementation of streetscape improvements in the East Elm Business District. Through the combination of in-person and online activities, the proposed project scope of work includes 3 opportunities for business owners and property owners of the district, as well as community residents to participate in the development of the concept design plans. Along the way, there will be one touch point with the village council, and then again at the end when Tesca and staff would present the recommended streetscape concept plan. Given the bulk of the streetscape improvements would occur on Green Bay Road, which is currently a state highway, the scope of work also includes 2 meetings with IDOT to discuss the proposed streetscape design concepts, which discussions could include the potential jurisdictional transfer of that portion of Green Bay Road that runs through the business district. Staff solicited a proposal from Tesca, given their current streetscape work in the community, which includes the East Elm Business District streetscape improvements, current work on a concept plan for the Indian Hill Business District in partnership with the Village of Kenilworth, and their current work on the development and implementation of site and streetscape improvements at 93 Green Bay Road. The village's budget this year includes funding for the development of the concept streetscape design. The total cost for the scope of work is $58,825, with Glencoe contributing $7,000 of that for the development of the streetscape design within Glencoe. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for David?
Yeah, I guess, are there any benefits? This is now the 5th project they've done with us, 4th? design project they've done, Tesca?
Well, they've done all the design work for the Elm Street Business District and then the two other projects that I mentioned.
Are they looking at work other than design, or like as far as waterway, the water repair, and that's not what they're doing?
No, this initial work is just coming up with design, and mainly it's going to be, we have a lot of the design elements already, but it's then street configurations and maybe special treatment we want to do within the Hubbard Woods Business District. And then a good portion of the work includes the public participation process, to have those both in-person and online opportunities for the public to participate in the development of the specific
I was
concept.
looking for economies of scale, seeing that they've done, this is not, we're not reinventing the wheel here. They're following a template, basically, of time they spent picking out things and designing things. This is, you call more of a kind of a template config. I mean, obviously there'll be some nuances to the configuration of the road and the sidewalks, but it's pretty much a template they're following?
Well, the elements, like the light poles, that was even a small component of their original design work. The bulk of the design work is identifying how you may adjust curb lines, how you may change in Hubbard Woods. In the downtown master plan, we talked about changing traffic configuration around Hubbard Woods, and if we do that, how might that be accomplished? And then the public participation part is a big component of the time and effort of hearing from the public, incorporating their ideas, and how we can take these elements and incorporate them into the Hubbard
So there's no,
Woods
I
business.
guess if you look at, I don't know what each one costs. I think this is about the same, or maybe even a little more than the past phases.
It's about the same as the Elm Street Business District.
Okay.
The concept plan for the Elm Street Business District, which occurred in 2017, 2018, so 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
And I looked, okay, well, that's what I was trying to understand. Is there any discounting of services? Because
Yeah.
this is
I
the
think-
fifth thing.
Because they're familiar with the design to
Well, I
date
get- I
and the
get that.
concepts, we're
Yeah.
going to get quite a bit of productivity and efficiency out of this. The other aspect is that Tesca serves in a planning function with Glencoe,
Yeah,
and actually have embedded one of their staff members there as a planner. So incorporating that area just north of Scott Avenue, so you can look at it holistically, there's some benefits there. But I think the other significant part of this in getting the concept plan is it gives us the basis to have a discussion with IDOT. Right now, there's nothing to engage them with, and we need concepts to be able to discuss whether a jurisdictional transfer is viable or not.
got it. Okay,
And that could go a long way towards funding the project as well, if there is a JT.
got it, thanks.
Sort of relatedly, David, this year on the caucus survey, which closes today, there's a very specific question about the community's interest in the jurisdictional transfer and moving ahead with the streetscape. I don't know if in the past with Tesca, there's been such specific data, such directly asked questions that would relate to a project they're undertaking. Is there a way for them to either acknowledge it, look at it, consider it, perhaps in the October-November timeframe when they're looking for community input?
To look at the results from the caucus survey, yeah, we can definitely share that
Yeah.
with them.
I've
and we'll
heard that
share
this year's like a record number of participants, so that's a nice data set to the
Sure.
extent that we're comfortable with the way the question was phrased and the data that's gathered. So,
Sure.
okay.
So I just wanted to highlight for people, because for those who may not remember, as part of the downtown master plan, this was, what was that, 6 years ago now?
16, 17.
Yeah. There's more than just picking bricks and planters and things, because one of the things they suggested is rerouting the one-way, or making it two-way traffic, or was it two-way traffic around to the Hubbard Woods Station, as
To the
opposed
parking garage, yes.
to the parking garage. So there's a lot of, engineering as well as public input on it that I'm glad to hear that that's still potentially something to consider, although who knows if it will work. But I'm excited to see this come.
One question on the budget, similar to the question we had for Director Keys. So this was budgeted, and was this as a component of the environmental assessment and the concept plan. Is this about what you had in there for this concept plan?
For the concept plan, we still will need to do the environmental assessment, which will occur no sooner than next year.
Okay.
But this would be about what we would have anticipated.
$50,000 roughly
Yeah.
net? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, good, good. Well, it's in the budget, so. Anything else up here? Okay, why don't we open this up for public comment? If there's anyone in the public that would like to comment on this agenda item, now's your time. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. We'll bring it up here again. Any final comments or discussion? Okay. Get going on this. So may I have a motion to adopt resolution number R90, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Dahlman?
Yes.
Trustee Apatow? Trustee Orsick?
Yes.
Trustee Handler?
Yes?
Trustee Alvinson?
Yes.
Trustee Dearborn?
Yes. That passes. Thank you very much. We're coming to item 9, old business. None. New business? None. Appointments? None. Closed session? None. And adjournment? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Voice vote? All in favor?
Hey.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you all very much.